Ah, yes, the holidays. The spookiest time of the year. What, do you think this was going to be a Christmas special? No, it's not. It's not for a couple more weeks. No, today we're going to talk about spooky stuff. That's why I wore my spooky sweater and put up the spooky tree. Put up Creepy Mickey. Did you guys not catch on to any of this? No, it's a top 10 video about the spookiest characters at Disney parks. Like, it's in the title. The Disney parks are known around the world for their costumed characters. You have Mickey and Minnie, Donald, you have Goofy, Pluto, you have the other duck, and you have the squirrels, I think they are. Groundhogs? No. While I think about this, why don't we just go ahead and hop over to number 10.
Alright, we'll start with an easy one. This one you can find at Disneyland and Frontierland near Fantasyland, or even at Disney World and Toy Story Land. It's Woody from Toy Story. Now here we can see what Woody's face has looked like for the past couple decades or so, and if you ask me, that stone cold stare is kind of terrifying. Because he's not a creature or an animal in the movie like Rex or the Little Green Men, he's a human, but he's also a toy, so they had to make the character look like a toy version of a human, which makes it look, like that. Even Buzz, for that matter. There's another Toy Story character on this list later on down that's even more terrifying, but something rubs me the wrong way about Woody here. Which is weird considering his face has received an update at the overseas parks, and if you ask me, it's way, way less disturbing. But unlike Mickey, this change has not come stateside yet, so we'll just have to sit and wait and appreciate the Woody that we have now at the parks, while we still have him. And no, in case you were wondering, if you yell Andy's coming while you're meeting this horrifying abomination, he does not go limp and fall to the floor. That's just an old myth. Sheriff Woody does not get paid enough to lay around on the ground at Disneyland. Sorry, folks. Spectromagic was a really cool parade that I'm sad is gone, and it's not gone like Main Street Electrical Parade, but like gone. A parade that was so cool, but also at the same time so unnerving that it has 2 spots on this list. The first of which belongs to the Ursula float? You see, the parade had a segment revolving around The Little Mermaid, which was a very popular movie at the time of its debut, and I guess still is. And yeah, you could see Princess Ariel and Sebastian, and they were all great, it was all good fun, but the Ursula unit was a bit terrifying. Her face would glow green, and sometimes she would come right up to the audience and talk to you, and I was always nervous as a child that she would come up and talk to me because I did not want anything to do with this thing. She's made a return in recent years as a float in the Frightfully Fun parade at California Adventure for Oogie Boogie Bash, which I did capture here. This time she's holding a deed and also is not glowing green, so that sort of helps with the fear factor. Also, I'm not 5 anymore, so that might be part of it. But this thing was traumatizing. No, don't talk to me. Don't talk. You're a villain. We don't like villains. If you pay attention during this top 10, you'll notice a common theme running through most of the entries on this list, and that is full costumed characters of human beings, like Woody and now, like this entry, Jafar. Now, is that down to the glazed over looks on all of their faces, just forever staring into the void with a scowl? Or could it possibly be the way he's impossibly tall and towers over everybody, and you could see him from a mile away? Maybe it's all of these, but for me, personally, it's the fingers. Look very closely at the fingers of this costumed character and tell me right now that that's not the most disturbing thing you've ever seen in your life. It looks like someone made some crepes and then wrapped them around the hands of this costume. They're like flimsy but also very spindly. It's a weird thing to look at and notice, but we do. I did. And this Jafar doesn't even have the decency to carry a Yago around on his staff or on his shoulder. Nope, just a very tall man with a sinister look forever plastered on his face, just acting mysterious all the time. No, I don't want to meet you, actually, Jafar, sorry. She's back, whether we liked it or not. Okay, this extends to all of the stilt walking characters at the Disney parks, except for you guys. You guys are cool. But does anybody else have a crippling fear of Divine at Disney's Animal Kingdom? This very lanky woman covered in vines and colored green who just wanders around slowly and silently, sometimes lurking in the trees. It's like the closest thing you'll get to a jump scare walking around the Disney parks. Imagine you're just sitting there, enjoying your, what's a famous Animal Kingdom treat? Cinnamon pecans, and then out of the woods, just from nowhere, comes a woman, a giant woman, and she's just staring at you, saying nothing, and slowly contorting herself into different shapes. Is this not nightmare fuel for anyone else out there? Just me? As a child, I would walk past Divine very, very quickly because I did not want to stick around to see what would happen if she tried to interact with me. And now, as an adult, she just returned to Animal Kingdom. And I think I need to keep an eye out next time I'm there. If you guys see a giant green woman, just to, point her out, let me know so I could steer clear, because I don't like it. Why is she silent? Why doesn't she have anything to say? Like I said, this sort of extends to lots of stilt walkers at the Disney parks, like these guys in the Festival of Fantasy parade. They're kind of scary, but they're cool, all right? They're cool. Divine is just unnerving. Animals. Some of them are nice and cute and friendly. Others, not so much. Others look like they want to eat you. Everyone knows and loves the Three Little Pigs. They were one of Disney's first breakthrough mainstream properties along with Mickey Mouse. And of course, you can't have the Three Little Pigs without having the big bad wolf with his giant red tongue. Now, there's not a whole lot of Disney characters that have this extra segment that can be manipulated and thrown around and just is hanging there out in the open, but the big bad wolf does. Maybe it's the sharp white teeth, maybe it's the evil looking eyes, maybe it's the tongue, maybe it's a combination of all three and the fact that he's not wearing a shirt. Gross. I was never one to enjoy the big bad wolf at the Disney parks, although that probably would change nowadays if I saw him. I mean, honestly, he's kind of a rare character and he's kind of cool, but doesn't make him any less unnerving. Also, I guess side note that's tied to this, when are they going to bring back the Three Little Pigs and the wolf to Fantasyland? Let us meet them sometime. Bring some classic characters back, long lost friends, I'm telling you. Here's the thing though, characters like Divine and characters like Woody, they're not supposed to be creepy, they just are. The villains though, they are meant to sort of put you on edge, so this one does its job and does it well, which is why it is number 6. You ready for a super candid opinion from Offhand Disney himself? Alright, the Fairy Godmother is my favorite character to meet or say hi to at the Magic Kingdom. She's so nice to talk to and even just interact with while she's going by on a cavalcade float, as in the past 2 years. She has been doing that. It's like meeting up with your grandma at the Disney parks, but she also just so happens to work there and be magical. It's like the best thing ever. The Fairy Godmother is amazing, okay? But this one will haunt me forever. Number 5 and number 4 on the list are both plastic humans, where they're supposed to be face characters. They would work better as face characters, but Disney, some way along the line, decided to make them mask or costumed characters. Look into her eyes. Doesn't that just comfort you? Doesn't that just make you want to make a wish and go to the ball and woo the prince? No, it just makes you want to curl up into a ball in the corner of the room and, cry. Oh, good. Then that would make 2 of us. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Scary Godmother is exclusive to Tokyo Disneyland due to different reasons. One being it's harder to get Caucasian elderly women over to Japan to the theme parks to play this character, so instead they just hire a character actor and put this horrifying thing on them. And I think the worst part of this one is it goes hand in hand along with Divine, and the next entry on our list is they don't speak. They're silent. They just have to communicate with you through hand movements and body motions and horrifying, unintelligible Latin backwards sounds, maybe? I don't know. I've never met the masked fairy godmother. But if you're here to take my advice, go to the Magic Kingdom and say hi to the godmother there. She's amazing and doesn't look like she would trap you forever in a pumpkin-made carriage. Plastic faces here. Plastic faces everywhere. Jessica Rabbit. That was an original haiku by Offhand Disney. Roger's fun. I mean, yeah, okay, that's fine. Eddie Valiant was a thing for a while there. Yeah, he's good too, but Jessica Rabbit. Look at it. For me, it's the neck fabric that really kind of does me in on this one. The folds as she turns her head. It looks like her skin is pulled so tight and just stapled to the bottom of her chin. Why, Disney? What, I mean, the Fairy Godmother at the Magic Kingdom, that's a face character. Why couldn't she be a face character? What's so hard about making this person a face character? We don't want guests misbehaving themselves because that's why we had to get rid of Tarzan and he's my idol, so I'll never get to meet him. Thanks a lot, Karen. But I don't know, maybe give this one another shot. I think she deserves it. She's getting her own new subplot in the attraction. That's nice. So why not, for the grand reopening of the new Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin and new Toontown, bring out a new Jessica that doesn't look like that terrifying porcelain doll that I'm pretty sure blinked at me that one time that sits on my grandma's shelf. I mean, just look at it. See? All right. I've got it all out of my system. No more plastic faces because I feel like this is too easy at this point, right? There's been a lot of them. That's the last one. It's just they're too human and they're just dead inside. The epitome of creepy characters. Okay, here's a rare character for you that you may never have seen before. It was in my Disney Iceberg video, but now I'm gonna talk about him more in depth, and that is the costume of Peg Leg Pete from Steamboat Willie. Peg Leg Pete from Steamboat Willie. Now this character appears on Disney on Ice, not at any of the parks. So no, while you can't get up close and personal with Pete, you can still admire his amazing face from afar. Maybe it's the never-ending scowl he has on his face, maybe it's the furry head poking out from underneath the hat, or maybe it's the giant cigar he happens to have in his mouth at all times. Never smoking it, just sort of holding it there. He's also a very large character, not just tall, but also very rotund. It just takes up a lot of space, and the fact that he's a Disney villain and we've never seen him at the parks before, unless you count this photo, which I'm confused as to where this was taken. The Pete costume is a mystery that may never be solved, and I think that maybe adds to a bit of the eeriness factor. Where is this suit? We're getting into deep cuts territory here, folks. Deep cuts. And remember when I said we would go back to Spectromagic later? Well, yeah, here we are. Spectromagic is back, and this time we're talking about the original characters who sort of hosted the event. The Spectromen. Now, the Spectromen are these glowy-faced, sort of Harlequin-like jesters that dance around in the parade and host it, for lack of a better term. Now, if you're a fan of Ursula from earlier with the pale face and the dark eyes, do not worry at all because the Spectromen have all of these horrifying features and more because from the neck down, they just look like people in costumes. You can't mistake them for a float like Ursula. They're not massive and they're not obviously motorized like her. No, they're just people walking around with these glowing faces and these horrifying grins. Let me ask you truthfully, if you were ever a kid when Spectromagic was playing at the Magic Kingdom, did you enjoy the Spectromen? Like, the rest of the parade was perfectly fine. An amazing evolution of the Main Street Electrical Parade, being brought sort of into the modern day. The floats, the characters, they were all amazing, save the Spectromen. I still have nightmares about them to this day, but not nearly as much as number one on our list. These guys, we unfortunately never got the chance to meet them in the parks. Nobody has, but we all remember them fondly, or perhaps not so fondly, from the Haunted Mansion. Need I really say more? When I was a young child attending the academy, sometimes the teacher would put on Disney sing-along songs, and sometimes that sing-along song would be one of my favorites from the Disney parks, Grim Grinning Ghosts. But as a child, okay, just between you and me, I was pretty terrified of the Haunted Mansion when I was like 4 through 7. But you know, when I turned 8 or 9, I became the Haunted Mansion superfan you see before you today. But back in those earlier days when those trees with faces began to dance, I knew I was in for a fright, which I guess was kind of the point because this was the Haunted Mansion special that was done for Halloween. No, these characters aren't part of a meet and greet. They don't meet or greet you. They just move slowly through the lawn of the Haunted Mansion. They dance. They say nothing, but anyone with 2 eyes can see that their intention is clear. Their intention is to scare the absolute life out of some children, and I guess they accomplished that, at least with me. Looking back though, this is the best Disney sing-along segment ever recorded because the villains show up, it's Haunted Mansion themed, and you see these, albeit now, cool tree costumes that I've never really seen before in the parks anywhere. So with it being that special spooky time of year, gather your family round and watch the Haunted Mansion segment of the Disney Sing-Along Songs Halloween special. Just be aware if you have children watching this, know that they will be traumatized for the rest of their life. Just something that's really smart to know going in. Ah yes, if that doesn't want to make you cuddle up with your family on the couch and huddle together because you're all so scared after seeing all these horrifying costumes and enjoy a nice little glass of eggnog, I don't know what does. Oh yeah, that's good. Now if you'll excuse me, we're getting closer to Christmas and I have a visitor I'm expecting. Said I have a visitor I'm expecting. Oh, and there he is, right on time. I'll catch you all a little later next week, but for now, I have to go leave out some milk and cookies for a very special friend of mine. Like and subscribe and stuff too. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone who's watching this video, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the part 1 of possibly 3 of my Christmas/holiday special. Don't worry, I have more videos coming down the line, mainly next week, that will continue on the groundwork laid by this one. It's like the offhand Disney cinematic holiday universe, alright? Please, like I said, be sure to like and subscribe if you're new around here to make sure that I know to make more videos like this if you enjoyed this one. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters over at patreon.com. They're the ones who keep this channel going, and for just $1 a month or more, you get access to early previews and sometimes full videos, like they got one for this one. If that interests you, like I said, even just $1, it goes a very, very long way. And make sure to follow me on all of my other social medias. You have the Twitter, you have the Instagram, you have the TikTok. I'm Offhand Disney at all of those places. I'm very, very easy to find, and if you want more spooky discussions about the Disney parks, please tune into my Haunted Mansion podcast, co-hosted with Disney Dan, Foolish Mortals. New episode coming very, very soon. And I do mean it this time, very soon. For those Foolish Mortals watchers, you know what I'm talking about. Everyone, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one. We're gonna continue the story there. It's gonna make sense, I promise. It's all gonna come together. Goodbye.